Hello, everyone, and a very warm welcome back to the Jane and Alex podcast. I'm Jane.
And I'm Alex. It is fantastic to have you joining us again for another deep dive English lesson.
If you are new here, this is the channel where we take real-world topics, break them down, and give you the vocabulary, grammar, and listening practice you need to speak English confidently and naturally.
Exactly. We don't just teach you textbook English. We teach you the English that people actually use in their daily lives, at work and with friends. And speaking of daily lives, Jane, we have a massive topic today. It is something I think every single person on Earth struggles with at some point.
Oh, absolutely. Today, we are talking about time management and productivity.
Just hearing that title makes me feel a little guilty, Jane. I feel like I should be doing something more productive right now.
Well, you are recording a podcast, Alex, that is very productive. But I know what you mean. Time management is such a critical skill, not just for your career, but for your sanity. It's about how we organize and plan how to divide our time between specific activities.
Right. Good time management enables you to work smarter, not harder, so that you get more done in less time even when time is tight and pressures are high. Jane, are you good at time management? Be honest.
Generally, yes. I am a list maker. I love my to-do lists. If I don't write it down, it doesn't happen. But I do have moments where I procrastinate. What about you, Alex?
I have a confession to make. I used to be terrible at it. In university, I was the king of all-nighters. I would wait until the very last minute to start an essay. I remember once I had a 3,000-word paper due at 8 a.m., and I started writing it at 10 p.m. the night before.
Oh no, that sounds incredibly stressful. Did you finish it?
I did, but the quality wasn't great, and I was exhausted for 3 days afterward. I learned my lesson, mostly. Now I try to use calendars and apps to keep me on track. But the vocabulary surrounding this topic is so rich, isn't it?
It really is. There are so many idioms, phrasal verbs, and business expressions related to time. In this episode, we are going to cover a lot of ground. We have 2 detailed role plays prepared for you. The first one is about feeling overwhelmed at work, and the second one is about planning a project strategically.
We are also going to break down the key vocabulary from those conversations so you can understand every nuance. We have a Q&A section where we answer some listener questions about workplace etiquette regarding time, and we'll discuss some cultural differences in how English speakers view time.
It's going to be a packed episode, so grab your notebook and a cup of coffee. Let's get productive.
Let's dive in.
All right, let's move into our first main segment. In this role play, we are going to listen to 2 colleagues, Sarah and Mike.
I will be playing Mike, who is looking very stressed out. And I will be playing Sarah, who is trying to help Mike manage his workload. Pay close attention to the idioms Mike uses to describe his stress levels and the advice Sarah gives him.
Hey Mike, do you have a second? I wanted to ask about the quarterly report.
Honestly, Sarah, I barely have a second to breathe right now. I am completely swamped.
You do look a little tired. Is everything okay?
Tired is an understatement. I've been burning the candle at both ends for the last 2 weeks. The marketing team moved the deadline up for the new campaign launch, and my boss just dumped 3 new client accounts on my desk this morning.
Yikes, that sounds like a recipe for burnout. Have you spoken to your manager about the workload?
Not yet. I keep thinking if I just put my head down and power through, I can clear the backlog. But every time I cross one thing off my list, 2 more things appear. I feel like I'm running on a hamster wheel.
I've been there. It's a terrible feeling. But Mike, you can't keep running at this pace. You're going to crash. Have you tried prioritizing using the Eisenhower matrix?
The what matrix? I don't have time to learn a new system, Sarah. I'm drowning here.
It's really simple and it saves time. Look, you just divide your tasks into 4 categories: urgent and important, important but not urgent, urgent but not important, and neither. Right now, it sounds like you're treating everything as urgent and important.
Well, it feels that way. The client emails are piling up and my phone hasn't stopped ringing.
Okay, let's look at the client accounts. Do they actually need to be set up today, or can they wait until Friday?
I suppose, well, technically the contract says we have 5 business days to onboard them, so I guess they aren't strictly urgent today.
Exactly. So push those to Thursday or Friday. That's important but not urgent. Now, what about the marketing campaign?
That's definitely urgent. The launch is in 48 hours. If I don't get the copy written, the design team can't do their job.
Okay, so that is your priority number 1. Ignore the emails for 2 hours. Turn off your notifications. Just focus on the marketing copy. You're getting sidetracked by all the little noises and interruptions.
You're right. I keep stopping to answer Slack messages, and then it takes me 10 minutes to get back into the flow of writing.
It's called context switching, and it kills productivity. Here is my advice. Block out 2 hours on your calendar right now as deep work. Do not answer the phone. Do not check email. Just write the copy.
That sounds terrifying, but necessary. I guess the world won't end if I don't reply to an email for 2 hours.
It definitely won't. And what about the report you mentioned earlier?
Oh, that. I've been putting that off for weeks because it's just so boring.
Procrastination is usually about emotion, not laziness. You're avoiding it because it's tedious. Try breaking it down into bite-sized chunks. Just do the introduction today. That's it.
Just the intro. I can do that. That takes like 15 minutes.
See? Much more manageable. Listen, Mike, take a deep breath. You are capable, but you need to stop reacting to everything and start planning.
Thanks, Sarah. I really appreciate this. I think I was just panicking. I'm going to block out my calendar right now.
Good. And hey, go home on time tonight, okay? No more burning the candle at both ends.
Deal. Thanks, Sarah. Wow, poor Mike. I really felt his stress there. That feeling of running on a hamster wheel is the worst.
It really is. But I think Sarah gave some excellent advice. There was a lot of rich vocabulary in that conversation.
There certainly was. Let's move on to our vocabulary and grammar focus to break down exactly what they said.
Great idea. Let's start with the first idiom Mike used. He said, I am completely swamped.
Swamped. S-W-A-M-P-P-E-D. A swamp is a wetland, an area of land covered in water and mud. If you walk into a swamp, you get stuck, you sink. So if you are swamped at work, it means you are overwhelmed with too much work. You are sinking in work.
Exactly. It's a very common informal way to say very busy. For example, you might say, I'd love to go to lunch, but I'm swamped with meetings today.
Or, I can't help you with your homework right now. I'm swamped. It implies that you have so much to do that you feel trapped.
The next phrase is a classic idiom, to burn the candle at both ends.
Visualize a candle. Usually, you light the wick at the top. It burns down slowly. Now imagine you light the bottom as well. It burns twice as fast, it gets very hot, and it disappears quickly.
Right. So burning the candle at both ends means getting up very early to work and staying up very late to work. You are depriving yourself of rest from both sides of the day.
It implies you are working excessively hard and are likely to get exhausted. For example, Jim looks terrible. He's been burning the candle at both ends trying to finish his thesis.
Or, you can't burn the candle at both ends forever. Eventually, you will get sick. It's a warning about health and stamina.
Next up, let's look at the phrasal verb Sarah used, to put something off. Mike admitted he had been putting the report off.
To put off means to delay doing something. It is the definition of procrastination. You decide not to do it now, you will do it later.
This is a separable phrasal verb. You can say, I put off the meeting, or I put the meeting off.
Here are a few examples. Don't put off going to the dentist, or your toothache will get worse.
Or, we had to put off the picnic because of the rain. In that case, it just means postponed. But in the context of productivity, it usually means avoiding work because you don't want to do it.
Sarah also advised Mike to break the work into bite-sized chunks.
I love this phrase, bite-sized chunks. Bite-sized literally means small enough to eat in one bite. When we talk about tasks or projects, it means breaking a massive, scary project into small, manageable pieces.
If you have to write a book, that is scary. But if you just have to write one page, that is a bite-sized chunk.
Example, learning English can be overwhelming, so focus on bite-sized chunks, like learning 5 words a day.
Or, the project manager broke the timeline down into bite-sized chunks so the team wouldn't panic.
Next, let's look at the phrase to get sidetracked. Sarah told Mike he was getting sidetracked by notifications.
To get sidetracked means to become distracted from your main purpose or goal. Imagine a train going down the main track, and then it accidentally switches to a sidetrack. It's going the wrong way.
Exactly. You start cleaning the kitchen, then you find an old photo album, and suddenly you are sitting on the floor looking at photos for an hour. You got sidetracked.
Example, I tried to study, but I got sidetracked watching YouTube videos.
Or in a meeting, let's not get sidetracked by minor details. We need to decide on the budget.
Finally, let's look at the grammar of recipe for. Sarah said, that sounds like a recipe for burnout.
Usually, a recipe is instructions for cooking food, a recipe for a cake. But metaphorically, a recipe for something describes a situation that is very likely to lead to a specific result, usually a bad result.
Yes, a recipe for disaster, a recipe for trouble. It means the conditions are perfect for something bad to happen.
Example, giving a tired toddler a bag of sugar is a recipe for disaster.
Or in business, starting a company without a business plan is a recipe for failure. In the role play, a recipe for burnout meant that Mike's habits were definitely going to cause him to burn out.
Speaking of burnout, that's another great noun. Burnout is a state of emotional, physical, and mental exhaustion caused by excessive and prolonged stress. It occurs when you feel overwhelmed, emotionally drained, and unable to meet constant demands.
We use it as a noun, he is suffering from burnout, or as a phrasal verb, to burn out. If you work 80 hours a week, you will burn out.
All right, that was a lot of heavy vocabulary. I think it's time to take a break from the role play analysis and hear from our listeners.
Yes, it's time for our listener Q&A segment. We've collected a few questions from our social media and email about time management and workplace communication.
Let's see what we have. Our first question comes from Maria in Spain. Maria asks, "Hi Jane and Alex. I often have a problem where my boss asks me to do extra tasks, but I am already swamped. How can I say no politely without looking lazy? Thank you."
This is such a good question, Maria. It is a very delicate situation. You want to be helpful, but you also need to protect your time.
Absolutely. You cannot just say, "No, I won't do it." That is rude. But you also shouldn't say yes if you can't do it, because then you will fail, and that looks worse.
The key here is to negotiate priorities. You want to show your boss that you want to help, but you have limits. A great phrase to use is, "I would love to help with that, but my plate is full right now."
My plate is full is another idiom for being busy, but you should follow that up with a solution. You can say, "I am currently focusing on project A and project B. If this new task is a priority, which of the other projects should I pause?"
That is brilliant, Alex. It puts the decision back on the boss. You aren't saying no. You are asking the boss to manage the time. You are saying, "I have 8 hours. I can do A or B. You choose."
Exactly. It sounds professional and responsible. Another option is to offer a different timeline. "I can't get to that this week, but I can definitely start it next Monday. Does that work for you?"
Perfect. So Maria, be honest about your capacity. Use the phrase, "My plate is full," and ask your boss to help you prioritize.
Okay, question number 2 comes from Kenji in Japan. Kenji writes, "I hear the phrase multitasking a lot. Is it good to tell an interviewer that I am good at multitasking?"
Oh, this is a controversial one. 10 years ago, everyone wanted to be a multitasker.
True. Multitasking means doing more than one thing at the same time, like answering emails while on a phone call. But Kenji, recent studies show that multitasking actually makes you less productive and lowers the quality of your work.
Right. So in a modern interview, instead of saying, "I am a great multitasker," I would recommend saying, "I am excellent at prioritizing tasks and managing competing deadlines."
That sounds much stronger. It shows you can handle a busy environment, but you are focused on quality. If you say you multitask, some employers might think you are easily distracted.
However, if the job is something like a receptionist, where you have to answer phones and greet people simultaneously, then yes, multitasking is a required skill. But for focused office work, focus on prioritization.
Great advice. Last question from Lucas in Brazil. Is there an idiom for someone who is very lazy and wastes time?
Oh, I have a favorite for this, a couch potato.
A classic. A couch potato is someone who sits on the sofa, the couch, all day, watching TV and doing nothing.
Another one is a slacker. A slacker is someone who avoids work or effort. He's such a slacker, he never finishes his reports.
And a slightly more fun one is to loaf around. Stop loafing around and help me clean the garage.
Great questions, everyone. If you have a question for us, don't forget to leave it in the comments section below. Now, let's move on to our second main conversation. This one is a bit different.
Right. In the first one, we dealt with stress. In this one, we are going to look at the planning phase. We are going to hear Jane and Alex, acting as project managers Lisa and Tom, planning a big event.
Listen for words related to scheduling, assigning tasks, and timelines.
I was thinking that, but I'm worried it might be too complex.
We have to free up your bandwidth, Tom. If you're stuck calling bus companies, you can't focus on the sponsor relationships. Let's have the intern do the research and present you with options. You make the final decision.
That's a fair compromise. Okay, I'll delegate that this afternoon.
Good. And let's schedule a weekly stand-up meeting every Monday morning just to track progress. Keep it short, 15 minutes max.
Sounds good. I'll send out the calendar invite. Let's aim to have the preliminary schedule finalized by the end of the month.
Perfect. Let's get to work.
That was much more professional and controlled than poor Mike in the first scenario.
Yes, Lisa and Tom were very organized. They used some excellent business vocabulary. Let's break down a few key terms.
First, touch base. Lisa said, let's touch base.
This is extremely common in business. To touch base means to make brief contact with someone, usually to update them or get an update. It comes from baseball, touching the base.
I just wanted to touch base about the contract. It's friendly and professional.
Next, bottleneck. Tom identified a bottleneck.
Imagine a bottle. The neck is narrow. The water flows out slowly. In a process, a bottleneck is a point of congestion or blockage that slows down the whole system.
If the finance team is slow to approve money, they are the bottleneck. Everything stops waiting for them.
Tom also mentioned a milestone.
A milestone is a significant stage or event in the development of something. In project management, it's a big goal you reach, like finishing the website design or signing the speakers. It's not just a task, it's a major achievement marker along the timeline. Then we had delegate. To delegate means to entrust a task or responsibility to another person, usually someone junior to you.
This is crucial for managers. You cannot do everything yourself. You must delegate. I delegated the filing to my assistant.
And finally, bandwidth. Lisa said we have to free up your bandwidth.
Originally, bandwidth is a technical term regarding data transfer internet speed, but in business, it refers to a person's mental capacity or time availability to deal with things.
If I say I don't have the bandwidth for this project, I mean I don't have the mental energy or time to handle it right now.
We are almost at the end of our episode, but before we go, we need to talk briefly about culture.
Yes, cultural nuances. Time is viewed very differently around the world. In the US, the UK, Canada, and Australia, generally the Anglosphere, time is often viewed as linear and monochronic.
That's a fancy way of saying we view time as a straight line, and we like to do one thing at a time. Punctuality is extremely important.
Time is money. That is a famous American saying. If you have a meeting at 2 p.m. in New York or London, you should be there at 1:55 p.m. If you arrive at 2:05 p.m., you are late, and it is considered disrespectful.
It signals that you don't value the other person's time. However, in many other cultures, parts of Latin America, Southern Europe, Africa, parts of Asia, time is viewed as polychronic or flexible. Relationships are more important than the clock.
Exactly. Being 15 minutes late might be perfectly normal and polite because you were finishing a conversation with someone else. But for English learners interacting with US or UK businesses, my tip is always be on time.
It is safer to be early than late. If you are going to be late, even just 5 minutes, send a message, running 5 minutes late. It goes a long way.
Also, be aware of the hustle culture we mentioned. In the US especially, people often pride themselves on working long hours. However, this is changing. People are starting to value work-life balance more. So while you want to be hardworking, don't be afraid to set boundaries like we discussed in the Q&A.
Well, Jane, I think our listeners have certainly been productive today by listening to this episode.
I hope so. Let's recap quickly. We talked about being swamped and burning the candle at both ends. We learned how to avoid procrastination by breaking tasks into bite-sized chunks.
We discussed how to avoid bottlenecks, the importance of delegating to save your bandwidth, and how to touch base with colleagues.
And now it is time for your practice assignment.
We want you to use the comment section below. We want you to write 3 sentences.
1. Tell us about a time you were swamped. What were you doing? 2. Tell us what is the biggest distraction that makes you get sidetracked. Is it your phone, your cat, the refrigerator? 3. Use the phrase put off in a sentence about something you are avoiding right now.
For example, I am putting off cleaning my garage because it is too cold outside.
We will be reading your comments and giving you feedback.
If you enjoyed this detailed script and want to support the channel, please hit that subscribe button and click the notification bell so you never miss a lesson.
Thank you so much for spending your time with us. We know your time is valuable, and we appreciate you spending it with Jane and Alex.
Have a productive week, everyone. See you next time.
Bye.